Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create violin plot using Plotly and Python. So first thing, we will open terminal or command prompt. Here we can confirm whether we have Python installed, right? Once we do that, next thing would be to install some of the packages, right? Now let's see, first we need Plotly. Okay, Plotly also has Express package, so Plotly dash Express is another package you should install. Then you have Jupyter dash Lab. This package you need to install for Jupyter Notebook, right? Once you do that, you can open Jupyter then Notebook, or you can go for Jupyter dash Lab, right? Either one of the two methods should try. Now the next thing would be to open Visual Studio Code, and then here you see you will have option to choose the extension which is for Jupyter as well as for Python, right? Simply search for Jupyter and then install the same. I already have Jupyter. I also installed Python, right? So two extensions you need, right? Now go to view, then command palette. Here you can type in Jupyter and then choose create new Jupyter notebook. This should open a new tab where you can write the code, and you can also run it by pressing this button, execute cell button, right? So first thing, we will import plotly.express as px and import numpy as np, right? Now if you go np.random.seed, you have something to check out, right? Then you have variable np.random.normal where you can go from 0 1 500, right? So another thing would be to check the figure px.violin, this function where you can simply pass your variable, right? Then we use figure.show, right? Now if I run this, it should generate the violin plot. It will also show you the amount of time it takes to fetch that violin plot on this notebook, right? So we will wait for it to start the process. As you can see, it started the process. First time it will take a bit more, after that it becomes a lot faster, right? So right now I have orientation like this. Okay, so I made a mistake with spelling here, so it is throwing an error. So if you check, it will even show you the mistakes, and after you solve those, you will get your violin plot, right? So the basic one looks something like this. If you want to change the orientation for x-axis, simply use x set to var and run this, right? Now you can also have box plot inside that, simply by typing in the box equals to true, right? Now if I run this particular, you will notice there is a box plot inside violin plot, right? Now there are few parameters you can also experiment with, something like opacity, and if I choose 0.6 as opacity and if I run this, so let's see, it says that opacity not supported, unknown keyword argument. So it seems like violin function doesn't support that. So you will see there are other means, like say we can use update traces later, and where we will adjust the opacity. So any updates to opacity should be through update underscore traces function, right? Now what we can do is we can make use of color discrete sequence, right? Now here you can see color discrete sequence says green, and now the entire violin plot has turned green, right? So you get the idea how to change the color. You can even experiment with dark orange and see if that works, and notice that it turned into dark orange. Now to change some of the other parameters, we can use update underscore traces, and here I can pass on fill color, and let's see if that works. So if I choose fill color something like red, let's see what happens, right? So let's run this. Notice that border remains the dark orange, meanwhile fill color is red, right? I can also change the marker line from here. So marker dot underscore line underscore outlier color. Now here it equals to a value, let's say black, and if we run this, let's see what happens. So at the bottom you can see the outlier color markers are black. Now we can also take a look at one more property, which is box fill color, right? And we already have red, so what we can do, we can make it green. Let's see if that works. As you can see, green is accepted. Now previously, as you can see, our typical opacity parameter didn't work, right? So let's try and check if this works with update traces. So opacity equals to 0.6. So if we run this, we should get the opacity for violin plot, right? Now comes the points argument, right? So usually our typical violin plot has points argument, so we use points equals to within single quote all. So if we run this, on the left hand side you will see the points in a blue color, right? Similarly, there is also plot side. So if we set the plot side, say side equals to, and we pass on negative to that, and then added comma and run, notice that it will show you the violin plot with one side, right? So it should look something like this, right? So this is one of the typical customization that you can do with violin plot. Now there are few more things you can do, like you can draw the violin plot by group, right? So for that I will remove some of the customizations here, right? So what I will do is I will remove points, I will remove the box, I will keep everything to the minimum, right? So the minimum looks something like this. Still have few of the parameters changed within update traces function, but apart from that we can add few things like import pandas as pd, import random, then we add a random dot seed, sorry, we need to complete this random, then random dot seed, right? And here I can pass 5. Also instead of variable we can replace everything with data frame. So let me remove variable, choose data frame, and with data frame I will have to use pd dot data frame, which is something changed with pandas recently. So if you are watching this in future, then you may have to check whether anything related to pandas library has changed, right? So let's take a look at that part. So within var, right? So in p dot random dot normal, so 0 1 and 500, right? And then next thing is group and where you have random choices, and within square bracket you can find G1 comma then G2, right, and G3, right. There is also one more thing you can check is value of K set to say something like 500, right. Then we have everything set, right. Now here within figure I will just have to pass on this y set to var but within single quote, right. So once we add that, the error will go away. Also from everything within update traces I'm going to remove, right. If you want you can keep the opacity but you can add later. So here I'm going to use color set to group. So the value of group fetches from data frame, right. Now I can test out. Okay, so there are errors. So string arguments only possible, data frame array data underscore frame argument. So let's try and wait for some of the errors. Output exists, size limit, open the full data, right. So here it seems like no data frame was provided, so we'll have to check. So pd dot data frame, and here as you can see the error was df was meant to be inserted. Now it will also keep on telling you bad property path color. So here we will have to check why so, right. So here update traces doesn't have the color option there, so we will use it in violin function, right. So if we run this we get our plot back. This time we have 3 different violin plots, each with different set of values here, considering we are making use of variable and group G1, G2, G3, each one with color code here on the right and value of variables, right. So that seems to be the case. Right now few more things we can also play around with points right now. So points equals to within single quote all. So if we run this we will also get the points to the left of each of these violin plot. Can also add box again like we did previously, set box equals to true and run this, right. Okay, so there is also overlay option which is something you can use. So for that however you will have to simply type in violin mode, right. So violin mode equals to overlay, right. If I run this it should show you that part, right. There is also custom color with color district map, right. So for each G1, G2, G3 you can add that. So depending on your choice you can choose to add that, but these are some of the customization you can do with violin plot using plotly in Python.